This is the Military and Aerospace Electronics Report. I'm John Keller. Well, the specter of sequestration is looming ever larger as the clock ticks down on the early January deadline for what some are calling the doomsday scenario for U.S. defense spending. It's formally known as sequestration, or automatic cuts of $1.2 trillion in about 1,200 federal programs over the next decade. Now, sequestration, which would go into effect in early January, would hit the U.S. military budget the hardest, $492 billion over the next 10 years, and those involved with the defense budget are starting to get panicky. Just last week, I went to a news conference in New Hampshire that's a microcosm of what's going on all over our nation. BAE Systems, the state's largest employer, sponsored a sequestration warning event that involved every member of New Hampshire's congressional delegation, who came together, as they rarely do, to make appeals for Congress to come up with some kind of controlled spending reductions that would head off the anticipated draconian cuts of sequestration. Now, okay, New Hampshire's congressional delegation only consists of 4 people, 2 U.S. congressmen and 2 senators, so it's not that hard to get them all in one place. But this delegation has Republicans and Democrats who, what with the intense partisan divide in our country in recent years, really don't like each other all that much and have very different ideas of how Congress should act to prevent sequestration. That seems to be the problem at the end of the day. Members of Congress, so far at least, haven't come up with a plan they can all agree on to stop these indiscriminate federal budget cuts. So increasingly, it looks like they'll do nothing and let the automatic cuts take place. For New Hampshire, for example, that means a potential loss of 6,300 jobs, state revenue losses of $2.3 billion, and a reduction in state business taxes of more than $32 million, according to BAE Systems figures. Now think about it. This is a small state. The same kind of panic is reverberating all over the nation, and these numbers pale in comparison to large states with substantial aerospace industry like California, New York, and Florida. The President's Office of Management and Budget issued a report just last week warning that sequestration would reduce the readiness of many non-deployed military units, delay military investments in new equipment and facilities, cut back on equipment repairs, force declines in military research and development, and cut base services for military families. The Federal Aviation Administration, furthermore, would see its ability reduced to manage the nation's air traffic control and airspace. Sequestration budget cuts were never supposed to happen. This portion of the Budget Control Act of 2011 was supposed to be so heinous as to force members of Congress to approve more controlled cuts. Sequestration was structured to be unthinkable, kind of like the old Cold War doctrine of mutually assured destruction. Now, maybe I'm a little cynical, but I don't see anything likely to stop it at this stage. The November elections are coming up fast, and a lame duck congressional session after the election will give members of Congress little incentive to roll up their sleeves and deal with this issue. It looks like the unthinkable is about to happen. For the Military and Aerospace Electronics Report, I'm John Keller.